Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabad House of Delmar, together with my co-host Mark Ronich of jbiztechvalley.com and Statewide News Service. We have a very special guest with us over here. John Connors of the Albany County Comptroller. You're in charge of the money, so we got to be good with you over here. Well, in any case.
Thank you, Rabbi. It's good to be here.
It's good to
Hopefully
have
you
you
have
here.
a good lot of money there to shell
yeah,
out. How's the money going? That's really the bottom line with your
tough,
job.
Rabbi. Say prayers for us.
Right.
It's tough.
What's the county budget?
It's about $567 million.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a lot of money to count, I
Yes.
can tell you that.
And
It is.
are we online to end the year
Yes.
but in a surplus, on target?
Well,
or balance?
again, a lot for us depends upon sales tax revenues because such a large part of our revenue is based upon sales. So
How
the
much
next
part
month,
of it? So that's the 8% everybody pays when
yeah,
you
the
buy
8%, the
something.
county gets, there's a gross, half of that goes to the county, the city, towns, and the villages. We get 60% of that 4%, or 2.4%, and then 1.6% goes to the town of Bethlehem, the
So how
city
much
of
of
Albany.
that is that part of the budget?
Oh, it's over 35%. It's actually, there's more revenue comes in from from sales tax than does from federal and state aid combined.
No, really? That's
Yeah.
interesting.
So can you tell me?
140 million for the county. Our share.
The fiscal year ends in
December 31st.
December 31st. How long does so are we on track to be balanced? I know that, the holiday shopping season
Holiday shopping will have a
has
big
a lot to
impact
do
on
with
that,
it,
yes.
but you're not worried or
Well, it's a difficult budget year, and we're very tightly budgeted. So hopefully things will continue on the same track that they're on, and we'll be okay.
All right, because there are sometimes, like on the state level, the state comptroller will sound alarms if he sees revenues are off.
Well,
And-
we've spoken to the legislature and the county executive. We do a presentation on an annual basis. It's the state of the fisc. We do it in May, the first legislative meeting in May, and we go over what the results were of the previous year, what the cause of that is, and what some of the remedies might be. And this past year, we focused on the nursing
I
home.
mean, is there what to be scared about? I'm not a businessman, of course, but things are going well, aren't they?
Yeah, the economy. If your revenue is based upon sales tax, and the economy gets a cold, Albany County gets pneumonia. So we have to be very concerned about the strength of the economy. Consumer spending is a large driver for us.
So what happens with what happened in 2012? Did we end on a surplus? Did we end balanced?
We had a fund balance go up by roughly $900,000. So I mean, it was a balanced budget essentially out of $560 million budget.
But we had $1 million surplus.
Correct.
That's pretty good.
Well, actually, on a budget that size, it isn't.
Well, it's 1 month.
It's better than being negative.
Right, and it's 1 month of supporting the nursing home for a month, according to the county executive.
Well, that's a very interesting issue. Rabbi, the biggest issue has been the fight over the nursing home. And
How much money does it cost?
Well, the nursing home, the average budget for the nursing home was about $36 million.
It's almost like, what, 7% in my fast
but
estimation.
if you look at the revenue that it generates, the revenue that it generates is plus intergovernmental transfers from the federal and state government. We lose roughly $10.7 million in the past year. But on the other side of the coin, it's one of the largest obligations the county has. I think that we have a real moral obligation to provide that coverage for the medically frail and our elderly. The alternative to a place like ours being open is that people are being shipped out of state and out of county, so that's a very difficult matter. What has happened is that the nursing home has become the whipping child for political problems that are going on. For example, when you look at the cost to run the nursing home, and the county executive is focused saying, oh, it's cost us $10.7 million, or he'll say $12 million. We spend far in excess on the jail. The jail costs is roughly $38 million net a year. Oh, yes. So, it's what's happened is that the nursing home has become the scapegoat for any kind of budgetary problems. So there was a tax increase in 2011, 2012, and the 2013 budget. So the revenue was put into the tax levy to support the nursing home. What's going on, a lot of people aren't aware of, is we've had tremendous increase in what our retirement costs are. We've gone up to, our retirement costs this year will be $24 million. So if you go back, short a while ago was 1999, that was under $400,000. So the tremendous growth in retirement
And there's
costs.
nothing to do about that.
No.
Well, it's also the health insurance
And that's a
costs
mandate,
also.
yeah.
Right.
Health insurance costs have gone up dramatically as well. And those costs are something that really are driving the budget. It's not the nursing home. But the nursing home has been made the convenient excuse. It's
Now,
unfortunate.
are you happy with this LDC, this Local Development Corporation that's going to be established and have this guy coming in from Nassau County to run it? And he gave some promises of how he could turn it around. And have you met with him? Have you?
I have not met the gentleman. I've heard his presentations. The legislature is very moved by this and convinced that this can work.
Do you have the same
I
confidence?
personally believe the county has not done a good job running the nursing home. And a perfect example is that we haven't maximized the revenue. We've had anywhere from 35 to 38 beds empty. So you wind up with people being shipped to other states. We still pay for that expenditure.
Yeah, but
and there's additional monies on that we still have to pay. So if the local development corporation is used properly and the legislature gets someone in to run the nursing home that wants it to be successful, I think that they can be much more successful than it's been.
So you're
Financially,
optimistic?
there's always going to be an obligation, though,
Right.
if you have it.
You're optimistic with this new arrangement?
Well,
You're not opposed?
I'm
You're
hopeful.
Not, you're hopeful?
I'm hopeful. I
Okay.
wouldn't say optimistic yet. The legislation is very difficult. There's been a lot of negotiations going on for the last 4 months between the executive and the legislature, and we're waiting to see something happen. So the executive's budget for 2014 has only put in half a year's funding, so there's a lot of debate on that as to whether that's really a fair presentation.
You know, you give
or
us
not.
the objective view on these issues, but I'm really concerned or looking for your personal assessment and subjective part of how you
Well,
see all of this.
The business that I'm in is, 1 and 1 is 2, and that's the nice thing about being comptroller, is that there is no subjectivity on the numbers. The numbers, and we give people historically accurate numbers that the legislature needs.
Right.
The budget is a political document. It's crafted to meet the needs and wants of the political figure that present it. From the proposal to go to a local development corporation, I think it does something that really puts the county on the spot. The legislature says, yes, we're going to back this facility. This development, the local development corporation takes control of the nursing home. And it also prepares that if in the event that this does not work, it makes an avenue for the legislature and the executive to explore the sale of the home. I think that leverage could bring everybody to the table to work out some things that have to be negotiated with the unions out there as well. So,
Do you have any say-so, for example, building up around the Greyhound area? The Times Union is a county facility, isn't it? The
Yes,
Times
it is.
Union Arena, that's what I was
Yes.
thinking. So I'm just thinking maybe to make another extension where the Greyhound station is downtown. I mean, you have
Yeah.
any say-so in that, or you're just more
no,
like the
that's
accountant?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I do
just-
the accounting and the auditing and the borrowing for the county.
Do you have any
That-
advice, for,
that-
saying why
that
don't you cut this
facility,
down?
that facility is actually been thrown out. The governor's not going to support that facility down by
Really?
Greyhound. Yes, the governor's proposal is for a 40,000 square foot facility on Eagle Street next to the old DeWitt Clinton Hotel. So you're going to have a smaller facility.
You're not going to do
but
with
it'd
that
be-
empty space, such valuable
Well, the empty
space.
space is going to be disposed of by the governor's people. So it'll be a development
It's a
initiative.
way to make money. It's just like, I don't know, I mean, I'm not I talk as a rabbi, but, I always have, every Jewish person always has an opinion. But, the lakefront also could be valuable property, and they don't use it properly. I mean, I know this is Albany County, but I look across the river to Rensselaer County. But it's the same thing. It could be built.
Yeah.
A beautiful county. You see what New York City, that valuable property on Hudson River going on, and here they're not. They put an
Yeah.
expressway in a park.
Well, Governor Rockefeller and some of the people around him, and many people believe that was done to damage the city, took that space and filled it up with 787. If you go to places like Syracuse or Rochester, you'll actually see the highway go through the middle of the town. It's submerged in both of those locales, so that you actually have you haven't lost the waterfront. Our loss of the waterfront is significant. I participate in an Irish sport down there where we race fishing boats. Row, yes, they're curras, and we race curras, row them. It's a lot of fun, and we're still rowing until the ice comes in because the boats are covered in canvas. But the waterfront is a phenomenal opportunity. Sure. There's a group now looking at it that's trying to push for more development there, but how you get the space available is a difficult thing. The city has been walled off from the Hudson River for almost 40 years. That was why I think one of the big things that Mayor Jennings did was to build that roadway, the walkway over, so people could get to the river.
I'm sorry to keep going back to this, but there was something I wanted to ask you about the nursing home.
Sure,
it was
please.
Explained to us by other guests that you said there were 35 to 38 beds that have been empty.
Correct.
But there were certain issues with why the beds have to be empty, because certain people have to have a single, and there just happens to be 2 beds in the room, but for medical reasons, they need to have a single, and there aren't enough single bedrooms. Yeah, and so there's going to be some sort of expansion or some better use of the space so that those 35 to 38 beds could be used. But it's not because we're sending people out of state because we didn't want to use the beds. It's just the way the setup is.
Well, actually, those beds could have been used. They were filled in other facilities. For example, Rensselaer County's facility is in the high 90s for occupancy. Saratoga County, Schenectady County, Columbia County. So there is a difficulty there. One of the difficulties we had at the nursing home for the past several years is there was no one doing intake, so you didn't really have somebody doing admissions there. Another problem is that if you look at when people say there's not enough space or they can't do this or they can't do that, you're in a facility that was a full 120-bed facility.
Right, but so they're not utilizing the space properly, and that's what people were saying.
That's a management decision.
And that's why this guy was saying, this new guy who's going to be coming in is saying that he could manage the facility better and free up those 35 to 38 beds and also maximize the use of the employees.
And there's not only that, but there's also the opportunity, not to get too technical, but...
No, go ahead. We like that here.
Well, good. The way that when you rate or categorize what the level of care is a rating that's given. And you might say that your utilization rate, and I think ours is something like 0.87, you can literally, with the same staff and the exact same patients that you have, with some of the modern software programs that are Care Tracker or a host of other programs like Care Tracker, you can then actually increase what your reimbursement is by 10 or 12 points, which is significant, and that's one of the things that they've talked about. When the county executive was talking about giving the facility, not giving, but paying someone to take the facility over, we pointed out that, gee, there's an opportunity, and we brought actually in someone who's been involved in 21 of the last 22 nursing homes that have been sold in this area, brought them in to do an appraisal, and the facility does have value. I think the county executive has worked a deal with the legislature where he's going to let them take responsibility, try and make the local development corporation work, and we'll see what happens. As I said, I'm hopeful, but I'm not optimistic.
And do you see that the nursing? Have you been to the nursing home? Have you known people who were there? And were you horrified, or were you, when you saw what goes on there?
I would say that
they clean the place up when the county comptroller comes in.
Well, no, actually, we don't actually warn them where to come. We come and do audits, but the people that work there are tremendously dedicated to the residents, and I think
I meant to visit the people who you knew were the patients.
Yeah, it's a facility where I think they do a good job taking care of people.
Okay.
The difficulty is that when you have an uncertain circumstances with the facility that we've had, where there's been all this talk about closing it or disposing of it, you start to lose staff. You know, your reputation is at jeopardy.
Morale goes down.
And you wind up getting the most expensive and most difficult cases, which is what the county has gotten. When you talk about people who have dementia, you're talking about a lot of one-to-one care, and the all of the nursing homes have been set up on one-bedroom rooms now instead of the two-bedroom model. And that was one of the reasons they discussed looking at a new facility. The problem was when the county executive put in the application for a new facility, on the very page that it says this is what you're eligible for in capital financing, on the page that says you're eligible for $55 million of capital funding, the county's submission asked for $72 million. So you wonder about self-sabotage and these kinds of things.
Right.
That's why I say I'm hopeful. I'm not optimistic yet.
Do you think that this nursing home issue forced the previous county executive out, that he didn't want to deal with it and he just said, washed his hands?
I think it's a combination of things. That was one of them. The money's run out. Unfunded mandates have gone up tremendously. I think that, you know, Mike was getting worn down. He'd had 2 budgets in a row overridden by the legislature. And, you know, he'd been there 17 years. It's a long time.
Okay.
Oh, you've been there for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah,
5
it seems
terms.
like 100 years.
Yeah.
Well,
For previous sins.
well, you know what, this is what I wanted to, we always get into a chapter where we want the audience to get to know who our guests are personally. And I was very impressed because, you know, what are you, 20 years, so 5 terms?
It'll be 20 years at the end of next year, yes.
Yeah, so 20 years you're county controller. Before that, you spent 1 term in the county legislature.
Correct.
Representing, well, you're from Manans. You live
North
in
Albany, Manans, yes.
So Virginia Mafia-Tobler has that seat
Yes,
now?
she does.
She succeeded you? Or?
Well, yes. I got elected in a primary against the party candidate, and for a 1-year term, and they cut the district in 3 pieces. So then I had a 3-year term after that, and most of the district Ginny Tobler has, and about a third of the district is now represented by Allison McLean Lane.
Yes. Okay.
So, and then there's
And she just
another
got
piece of it,
reelected,
right.
right.
Another piece of it is actually Norman Chapman has.
Now, also, people might not know this, but for over almost 23 years, you had your own insurance agency.
Right. I was a property and casualty insurance agent for 25 years. And
That's pretty good. Now, did you do that with your father?
yeah, my father, I started working for my father in that in 1973.
So the former assemblyman.
Yes.
That was his other
And
full-time job. When
That
he
was his
a part-time.
full-time job until 1976 when he got elected to the assembly. And
And then did he get back his salary?
he
Your
donated all of his raises, and he didn't
raises.
he didn't take the per diem, and he didn't take the Lulu payments either.
Right.
So he actually had, and it was a well-kept secret about these donations. There was a bank employee that was in a restaurant or a bar in Syracuse and was talking about this, and this well-known reporter happened to overhear it, and they wound up writing about it. So my father was doing that from 77 right to 92, and it was well over $90,000.
Wow, that's a great
yeah, he's
testament to
amazing
your
man.
father. You know, we had County Legislator Ray Joyce on, and we talked about his family's legacy.
Right.
And your father had a phenomenal, your family has a phenomenal legacy in this county. And your father was a great assemblyman. I remember him in the assembly, and it was just to talk to him. You just knew, looking in his eyes like I look in yours. You just know about the honesty. You know about the truthfulness. You know about, he's not going to give you a line. He's going to tell you the way it was.
He was a great man.
You know, and I really miss him. I don't say that about too many of the state legislators, but I do miss him. And some of his staff people I still see around the Capitol, and we reminisce every so often.
He has 17 interns who are working either in state government or in the legislature or as lobbyists. So I know he's very proud of the young people that work for him, and he's very active with that.
Now, you were the commissioner of the Department of Public Works for less than a year.
You 6 months.
You didn't like it.
I loved it.
Why did you only stay for 8
I
months?
got fired, that's why. I had a press conference about bid rigging, which was not approved of, and it resulted in me being fired.
Oh.
So we had a great tenure there, and I'm very close to the employees there still.
And the
we
bid
actually
rigging was...
Well, actually, they threw the bid out, so...
Oh, okay, so you were right.
We won. It was a Pyrrhic victory, I suppose.
Pirate victory, that's a nice phrase. You're also heavily into the unions. I mean, that's something that the Irish scalpel, I see here.
Oh,
Master
that's
of the Irish scalpel?
a euphemism. I was a laborer for 7
Yes.
years, 6 broken sewers and broken water lines. And a short-handled shovel is that was a nickname for that. Was an Irish scalpel.
So you're not you're familiar with getting your hands dirty?
Yes.
Because I see here you were a sandwich maker and a bartender at the Town Inn and the Sienna Rathskeller.
Yes.
You were a fry cook at McDonald's.
I became assistant manager too.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh,
Yes, a shift
It was great.
assistant manager.
Yeah.
Swing
Oh,
shift,
yes. The night shift. Yes.
The night shift.
I made $1.30 when everybody else was only getting $1.15. So,
I'm telling you.
yes, it was a great, but it was a great job, a great opportunity.
You know what, Mayor, I think that's a good testament. I mean, I just want to interject because, you know, a lot of people are, in a way, professional politicians, and it's good to have a person who's a public servant, but on the other hand, you know what it means to get your hands dirty, you know, to work for a living. Sometimes that's why I say people are almost, and it's, I mean, there's no nobility in the United States, I know that, but in a way they are. You know, they're just like, they've had everything fed to them, they're lawyers, they never dealt with people. Here, you know, you're a down-to-earth kind of guy, so you know what it means, you know, to work with people.
It gets better.
All right, let's hear
Because not only was he a newspaper carrier for the afternoon paper, the Knickerbocker News, back in the early 60s, back when we were...
Boy, I'll tell you, these reporters do a lot of research.
I know,
But he was also, he unloaded railroad cars, palletized various foods and beverages, tobacco products, and canned goods. And, I mean, Central Warehouse,
Yep,
he was
that
a
was a
labor...
great job. That was at night. Yeah, that was a great job.
For over a year, and when everyone else was protesting peace, and there was peace, not war, or, you know, in the 67 to 69, in the Woodstock era, you know, he was out there unloading railroad cars.
It was a great job, great
So,
opportunity.
you have any scars or any calluses from these days? Or?
Well, I will tell you that I did have a tragedy with a pallet full of frozen turkeys right around this time of
Yeah,
year.
hopefully they weren't kosher turkeys.
No,
Right.
not
Well,
then.
No, not the Central Warehouse. But the turkey boxes were frozen and unusually shaped, and I happened to hit going up the ramp onto the railroad car as we were loading them into a railroad car to go out. And when they fell, because of the separation between the railroad tracks and Central Warehouse, they fell a couple of stories. So my reward for that was to go down and carry them up by hand, the boxes. But it was a great job, and I worked with some tremendous people, and we made really good money at the time. I mean, that was a great job.
$1 watt per hour.
Oh, no, it was probably close to $7 an hour.
Wow. That was
So in 1967, 8, and 9, that was great money.
So you
And
still
I did that at night between football and lacrosse season.
And you put that in the bank and you saved it and you still have
Use it for tuition
That's
and
it,
books.
yeah. What about your health? I understand you had a...
Knock on
last-
wood, everything has been very good.
Could
I
you
think
tell the
power
audience a
per-
little bit about...
Yeah, I was diagnosed a little over a year ago with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It was picked up in a routine physical with swollen glands in my neck. And went and had all the tests, and it turned out to be stage 3, which is extremely frightening at the time. I had a tremendous surgeon by the name of Mike Daly who did surgery and took out 3 cancerous lymph nodes in my neck. And knock on wood, everything has been good since.
You went through chemo and...
No chemo.
No.
No. They wanted to, because it was asymptomatic, they didn't want to use the chemo. They wanted to hold that back for when this thing does take off.
And you've been tested since
Yeah,
then?
every 3 months.
And you're cancer-free, or...?
It's in a waiting stage, is I guess the best way to say it. Dormancy, but indolent is the correct word.
What is it?
Indolent.
Indolent.
Yeah.
Okay.
INDOLENT. Indolent.
You're right, that's how you spell it.
Waiting. Waiting is a lot easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's nothing more that they could do?
No, I get tested every 2 or 3 months now, and dealing with all of the paperwork when they say we won't do a PET test or not. But I've got some great people who have been very good, and people have been wonderful.
Well, thank God you're healthy. That's the main
Thank
thing.
God it's right, and people's prayer really made a big difference.
Well, that really was something, I understand that took a lot of people by surprise. And, it's interesting because the reason that you felt you had to come out and tell everyone about this is sad because you didn't want an opponent to come and start spreading worse rumors about this. And we live in that type of an age now, where, and you have a blog on the Times Union website, so you came out on the blog and explained this to people. And, one of the reasons that you said that you came out to tell everyone was because you didn't want the rumors to start spreading, like playing telephone in school, where you say one word to the first person, by the time it gets to the last one, it's something totally different, you know?
Yeah, I tremendously disappointed some people by not dying.
Yeah.
So one of the problems in the business of politics is that people who don't like what you're saying or don't like what positions you've taken will use any means to try and destroy the strength of your position. And there were rumors out there that I was sick, that I was dying, that I wasn't going to be able to complete the term.
No, I wanted to ask you a question. We had, because I'm really from Delmar, and they had about the, that certain positions shouldn't be voted in. So I'm thinking, why do you think it's right, or that to be voted in the comptroller? I mean, I understand a politician, they got to keep the people have to keep their feet to the fire. I mean, like, say you're an accountant, really. I mean, and the most simplest thing, you have to vote an accountant, and you're doing a good job as someone. I don't know. I don't see why the politics have to be thrown into that position.
Do you have a CPA? Are you an accountant?
No, I'm not a CPA. Okay. No, and actually,
it's like Tom DiNapoli's not a CPA either.
Or Carl McCall or Ned Reagan.
You got to hire the CPAs. You got to know how to manage. That's what it is.
Yeah. The job as comptroller is about creating an environment for people to be successful, and it's about having a solid understanding of the numbers. And I, I've debated in primaries and general elections for CPA opponents, and the people of Albany County have been satisfied with the answer, so I've been reelected. But to go to your question, Rabbi, I think it is good to have a comptroller elected. And the reason for that is that if I'm appointed and I say something that the county executive doesn't like, he can fire you.
Oh, really?
So to get a really objective viewpoint, I think having an elected comptroller does make sense, and it's served the county well.
So you could be independent in that sense.
Mm-hmm. Right, and you like being independent. You
have
that fiery Irish,
I don't think anybody thinks that I'm very shy about making myself known on a position or flying against what is the prevailing beliefs or political wishes.
Well, I've heard people say, oh, here he comes, watch out. And they say that about me too. So, I think it is a badge of honor, but,
Yeah, I think the most important thing for comptroller is to be independent.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a good explanation. That's smart then.
So you plan on possibly running again?
Well, God willing, yes.
Do you want to run again?
I hope to, yes.
Okay. And you know who these people are who are nipping at your heels?
I don't really pay much attention
No,
to
but you
them.
know who they are?
Yes.
Okay. And, it's interesting because you would think that it wouldn't be such a hot commodity.
It's
county
funny.
Controller,
it's
but
funny,
I guess it is.
Yes, it's funny. Well, it's a great job. It's a tremendous opportunity.
Low profile, and if you make it what you want.
Believe me, it's a wonderful opportunity. I'm very thankful and very lucky and very blessed to be controller. It's a privilege and an honor to serve. The noise that was starting, all the drum beats and all of the information about that, 3 days after the blog coming out and people had the solid information as to what was really going on, that
dissipated.
Went away.
Yeah, it's always
is
to
it
be
a shame
upfront.
that in this day and age you have to do that in order to...
That's a cost.
But that's what it is to be in public service.
Yes, but on the other side of the coin, there's such a reward. Do you have a chance to help people in this job? It's a tremendous opportunity and honor. So it is part of the price. You have to pay part of the price.
No, and I know
I was lucky.
You do give back, and you are out there in the community, and you're not just, one of like an A-beam type of controller, where I always think of a short Jewish guy managing the numbers, and but you're out there, quite effusive, and you just get out there and say what needs to be said and stay on top of things.
Well, thank you.
I think that's a real attribute. So.
Mike, we're out of time. It's always good talking to you, and
thank you, Rabbi.
Keep up the good work and the budget.
We'll try.
And Mark always tells me, Rabbi, you got to say a blessing. So first of all, you have to have your health. That's, of course, the number one for anything. You can't do anything without your health. So a blessing, you should have good health. You shouldn't have any problems at all through. And, in Jewish, you say you live till 120.
Right.
So you should be with good health till 120 and doing good work for the Albany County, and everything should be good.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Glad you've been here.
Mark, thank you very much.